Hi everyone, good day. Welcome back to our next video. In this video, we will discuss about the unconditional branching or jump statements in detail. Let's get started. Branching statements are of two types, conditional branching statements and unconditional branching statements. Conditional branching statements includes if else if ladder, nested if and switch statements. So with the help of these statements, we can do conditional branching in C. We have already discussed about conditional branching concepts in the previous video. If you have not watched the video on conditional branching, please check the description for the link. In today's video, we will discuss in detail about the unconditional branching statements or the jump statements. The jump statements in C includes go to, break, continue and return. Let us discuss about them in detail with the examples. First, we will discuss about the go to statement. It is used to branch unconditionally from one point to another within a function. Goto statement provides a highly unstructured way of transferring the program control from one point to another within a function. The syntax for goto, give the keyword goto followed by the label. So label is where we are going to jump in the function. The goto statement transfers the program control to an identifier labeled statement having a label name same as the label name used in the goto statement. The goto statement can be used to make a forward jump as well as backward jump. This is the syntax of forward jump. First you will have the goto statement, go to the label where we are going to jump. Then you will be having some set of statements followed by the label where you are going to jump unconditionally. We call this as a forward jump because the goto statement is present before its corresponding identifier label statement. We also have backward jump. This is the syntax for backward jump. The goto statement is present after its corresponding identifier label statement. The jump made will be known as backward jump. We can also have multiple goto statements corresponding to one identifier labeled statements as shown here. But the vice versa it's not possible. Multiple identifier labeled statements corresponding to one goto statement is not allowed. Let's look into an example for goto statement. So this is an example program which illustrates the concept of goto. Here we are having four labels S1, S2, S3 and end. So in the label S1, set of statements inside S1 we are having the goto statement which unconditionally jumps to the label S3. So when you move to S3, here again we are having another goto statement which unconditionally jumps to S2. So we are going to the label S2. There again we are having a goto statement which unconditionally jumps to the end label. So finally we come to the end label. So how this program works? So it starts executing from the main function, the first statement S1. So then we go to the next statement printf. So it will print in label S1. So after that statement we are having the goto statement which means that we need to jump to the label S3, go to S3. So it will directly go to the label S3. There we are again having a printf statement in label S3. So it will print in label S3. So next statement is go to S2. So this is again a jump statement which will unconditionally jump to the label S2. So again in the S2 label we are having a printf statement which says that in label S2. So it will print in label S2. So after it displays in label S2 it will go to the next statement which is again a go to statement. So it will unconditionally jump to the label end. So in the end we are having a printf statement by. It will just print by. So that is the end of the program. So here we can see we are having both forward jump as well as the backward jump. So if you see go to S3, so it is a forward jump. The label comes after S3. But when you see the statement go to S2, it is a backward jump because the go to statement comes after the label S2. So both forward jump and backward jump is explained in this program. So let us now run the program. So when you run the program, so this is the output you will get. So first it will print in label S1. Then it will print in label S3. Then it will print in label S2. Finally by. Next is the break statement. The break statement terminates the execution of the nearest enclosing switch or the nearest enclosing loop and it resumes the execution from the statement after that switch block or loop. It will skip the iteration and it will come out of the iteration and it will go to the next statement after the switch block or the loop. It can be associated with all conditional statements like if, switch and loop. So if you look here, we are using a break statement in while loop, do while loop and for loop. So when you use the break statement, it will come out of the loop itself. It will break the iteration and it will come to the next statement after the loop. So in while loop, the next statement after the while loop. In do while loop, next statement after the do while, and in for also next statement after the for loop. The continue statement, it is associated with looping statements. We can use a continue in the looping statement. The continue statement, it will terminate the current iteration of the loop and the program control is transferred to the next iteration. So it will move to the header of the loop for the next iteration. It will skip only the current iteration and it will continue the next iteration. So if you see the difference between break and continue, in break statement, it will skip the entire iteration. So once you have a break statement, it will come out of the loop itself and will go to the next statement after the loop. But whereas the continue statement, it will skip only the current iteration and it will go further, it will continue with the next iteration. So this is how we are using a continue statement in while loop. So when you have continue, it will skip the remaining statements in the while loop and it will go for the next iteration. Similarly for do while also, it will skip the current iteration and will go to the header for the next iteration. In for loop also, it will skip the current iteration and will go for the header loop for the next iteration. Let us see one example for break and continue. The same program we will use for break as well as for continue so that we can see what is the difference between break statement and continue statement. So in this program, we are having a for loop which iterates 10 times. So we have the initial value of I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 10, which means that the loop iterates 10 times starting from I value 1. So inside the for loop, we are giving the break statement. So when we need to break, we are giving the condition if I is equal to 5. So this for loop iterates from I value equal to 1 to I value is equal to 4. Then I value becomes 5. Since we are having the break statement, it will come out of the for loop. It will terminate the iteration. The break statement will terminate the iteration and it will come to the next statement after the for loop, which is the printf statement, and it will print by. So I'll run the program. So you can see here, so we are having the I value equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4. Then we have by. We do not have the remaining iterations. If I is equal to 5, we are breaking. So we do not have the value from 5 to 10. So the same program we will modify for continue. So instead of break statement, we will use continue. So the continue statement, what it will do is, it will skip only that particular iteration. So when I say if I is equal to 5, continue, that iteration alone will be skipped. It will go to the loop header and it will continue the next iteration. So it will print I is equal to 6, I is equal to 7, I is equal to 8, I is equal to 9 and I is equal to 10. Only I is equal to 5, that particular iteration alone will be skipped. So I'll run the program. So you can see here, we do not have I is equal to 5. So the remaining iterations are executed. So once the loop is completed, it will go to the next statement after the loop and it will print by. So this is the main difference between break and continue statement. So in break, when you have break, it will come out of the iteration itself, the loop. When you have continue, it will skip only that current iteration and it will continue with the remaining iterations. Next is the return statement. A return statement terminates the execution of a function and returns the control to the calling function. A return statement is normally used in a subfunction. And when the subfunction is called, it gets executed. Once it is over, with the help of return statement, it will return back to the calling function. The syntax for return, either you give only the return statement or you can also return a value, return expression. So either you can give this expression as an expression itself or you can just give the variable here, return variable. So when you do not have anything to return, you just give the return statement. So the return type for such function should be void. So the return type will be void. So you need not return anything from the function. See the example. So here add is the subfunction. We are passing two values to add, a comma b. The values of a is 10, the value of b is 5. The function is called here, sum is equal to add of a comma b. So when you call the function, the control will go to the called function int add int a comma int b. So the return type of this function is integer, which means that we are going to return an integer value from the subfunction. The sum is performed here. We are computing the sum a plus b and we are returning the value c from the subfunction. So when you return the value c, it will go back to the calling function. So where we have called, the control will go back and the value gets assigned to sum and it will print sum. So instead of return c, you can write return a plus b also. So return statements, they are used to terminate the execution of a function and return the control back to the calling function. In this video, we discussed about the unconditional branching or jump statements. In the next video, we will discuss about the looping statements in C. Hope this video was useful to you. Kindly like, share and subscribe the video. We will meet in the next video. Thank you.